Hi, I'm James Sheridan from the Canteen at theMarket in Blackrock.
Welcome to IrishStartUpTV.
Well, thank you.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about the business and how you got started?
My wife and I, who's not here with us today, had been cooking for many years professionally at a reasonably high level, and it was always our hope to get our own place and our own business. When we approached the idea, when we eventually came around to approaching the idea of going ahead and opening our own restaurant, because we had no background in a business or running a business of any kind, we found doors just wouldn't open for us because nobody knew who we were, nobody wanted to know who we were, and it was just at the end of what was arguably the worst economic crisis in our history. So another two chefs, anonymous chefs, looking for help from estate agents, from banks. There really was nobody interested, which led us to this, which is very humble premises.
Very finely kitted out.
Very finely kitted out, but very reasonably priced kitted out. So it became immediately obvious that we were going to have to do it on our own steam, and that we had to do something that we could afford to do, and something that proved that we could do it and run a business. Cooking was never going to be an issue for us. We just needed to develop the business kudos to go forward. So we got a hold of this place, which is in Blackrock Market, which Blackrock Market has a strange sort of a reputation. But ultimately, Blackrock Market is in the middle of Blackrock, which is in the middle of South Dublin. And if you cook good food, that doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Blackrock Market or you're on Blackrock Main Street. So we could afford to do this, and we could afford to kit it out ourselves. And more importantly, we could afford to do it with just Swazik and I to begin with, where we would do everything in the whole business. And really the plan was just to do it for a year here, develop the business skills, and to move on to this grand premises somewhere overlooking the sea with 55 seats and full all the time. Things don't always work out like that. So we started life cooking breakfast and sandwiches for the market crowd, really, and the local business community, and as you described earlier, really nice food in a really odd kind of setting. But really our plan was always to develop it to a dinner offering, and to come back to the cooking that we enjoyed to do and that we're trained to do. The sandwiches and the breakfast and that kind of thing was just to get people through the door and to give us an opportunity to speak to people. So we started in October of 2013 to do dinner 2 nights a week with a set price menu at €35 for 4 courses with no choice. The reason we did no choice is because in this premises it's just too small. We can't offer a choice and really do beautiful, consistent food. And really, we wanted this business to be really just about food and us. The frills, we weren't interested in the tablecloth, in the 10 waiters, the sommelier and the big long wine list. First of all, we couldn't afford any of those things. Second of all, it's just not who we were, and it's not what we were interested in. We weren't interested, we're humble people who like things to be informal, but who are deadly serious about our food and our
top quality food.
And that was, so we continued to do the casual lunch, and dinner started to gather a little bit of traction. Now, it was a slow process. The first media kind of came to the table February 2014, and then it started to gather a little bit of momentum, and we went out to a third night's dinner after a little bit more media, and gradually our reputation has built. There's a reputation we were allowed to build here because we could afford to take the time to build it, because our overheads are low. And we could afford to be just Swazik and I, and we didn't have a lot of people to pay, or we didn't have the same, obligations that a bigger premises with more staff would have.
You could concentrate on your core business.
We could concentrate on our core business, and as much as concentrating on the core business, we could really concentrate on developing the skills outside of cooking and outside of the front of house, managing the money in the business, managing food costs, managing the running costs, and then eventually managing the staff costs, which obviously came with it, with the increased profile of the dinners and the success of the dinners. we have had to take on staff. Obviously, this year we've just had our first child, so I think is not really in the business as much as she was. And we have more staff than we've ever had before, and I've been very lucky to have got some brilliant staff, and been I feel very humbled with the staff that we've got now. So we have managed, only this year we have managed to drop off the casual lunch and go back to a slightly more formal lunch with less choice. So we now have lunch and dinner. We have come from doing breakfast and sandwiches to doing lunch and dinner, and doing high quality cooking for lunch and dinner, and been busy for both. Dinner's now booked out Friday and Saturday almost a month in advance. Wow. And Thursdays are full now most of the time. 90% of the time Thursdays are full, as well as picking up Wednesdays now, and private functions pretty much constantly. All this really without ever doing any much advertising. You know, we really did believe that. We were very confident in one thing, that the food was right, and the core product, as you say, which is the cooking and the hospitality, and that's the core product of any hospitality business. If they were right, then we would always be okay. In spite of our surroundings, we've gone on to arguably be the busiest restaurant in Blackrock, in spite of the fact that it's in Blackrock Market and the toilets are outside. And only this month we've also added a wine bar to the business, which is located in the market as well. So really, well, I mean, the premises is really not our dream premises. It's anything but. It's a good location in a reasonably very affluent area, with a concentration of pretty poor restaurants and food offerings. So or poor to average. So really, the opportunity was there for us, and what we have found is that people can really see past the surroundings when they see the food and the cooking. I mean, the menu, which is here behind me, it's 48 euros a head, so it's not cheap either. So the fact that it's full Friday, Saturday and Thursdays most weeks is a minor miracle that it's in the Blackrock Market, but it's not a minor miracle because the cooking is good and it's solid and it's done by people who truly believe in it. That's really where we find ourselves at the moment. Now other opportunities have opened up to us reasonably recently to go to other places, bigger places, you know, and they do come along to us. And these are the opportunities that we couldn't get a look at 2-3 years ago when we went looking originally. People didn't want to know. Now they come to us, much like, not unlike what you described for yourself a little while ago. The opportunities do have started to come to us. We've also come to the realization that we have 20 seats or 22 maybe, and they're full all the time, and we cook whatever we want. And there really isn't another premises in the country, or certainly within the radius of this, that would allow you to do that. We can cook whatever we want. We don't offer anybody any choice. Yet they come, and we're full. And it's down to our cooking, and it's down to the food, and it's down to the hospitality. And it's down to, as much as anything, an absolute belief in the product, in the food. That's really where we find ourselves now. We really only ever set out to get ourselves paid and to learn the business, but it's become quite a good business for us between here and between the wine bar, and hopefully the wine bar will gather more traction now in the coming weeks and months, and who knows what's in the future for us. We'd like to expand, maybe go somewhere else, somewhere bigger, but for the time being, this, what was effectively a greasy spoon up until 2 years ago, has served us very well.
It's absolutely incredible. It's a very inspiring story.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's every day, it's hard work. Yeah. There's no day that's not hard work. But we've got it to a point where, like, we're only open. We open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday now, upstairs and downstairs, wine bar and up here. It's allowed us, particularly me anyway, for years and years and years as a chef, you work 90-hour weeks, and you work your 5 days, and then you spend the day in bed, and then you spend the day going about your business. So Zeke and I, and indeed the people who work for us, have other interests, and there's other things they want to do. So we've managed to really, well, not quite yet, but I'm certainly on the way, to really striking a good work-life balance now. Between we have a good few days off, we don't do lunch on Thursdays, we have plenty of time to be ready to get the food the way we want it. We have time to. I now have a family, so I now have time for my family, and I have time for the other things in my life. I'm a keen marathon runner, long distance triathlon. So I've things that take up plenty of time, and things that I want to have plenty of time to do. So from that point of view, there really wasn't any need for us to move from this premises. It's given us all the things we were looking for. Now it hasn't given us them easily. We've had to go looking pretty hard for them. But it has come right for us, so please God, it'll continue that way.
That's great. It's great to hear as well that you figured out what do we need to do to be successful.
Yeah, well, we knew from the start that if our business plan would really fit on the back of a napkin. It was, if we cook well, offer value, which in spite of the reasonably large price tag on it, represents great value.
There's a massive difference. I think in Ireland a lot of people confuse price and value.
I think so too, and immediately our menu, which is €48 for 4 courses, immediately it only attracts the people we want. Immediately, if you're offered, there's a vast majority, or a significant minority, pardon me, would have no interest in that. They'd have no interest in being told what they're having, and immediately then you just get people who are interested in food and cooking, and that's really evidenced by the fact that it is where it is, and it's great that it is ferociously hard work in here, but we're immensely proud of the fact that is this somewhat of a dodgy place? Let's face it, it's in Blackrock Market, but we've managed to make it a success, and it gives us enormous confidence going forward.
It's quite interesting though, on that note of the market, that I've lived here all my life and I've seen a lot of changes, but we've seen some very successful businesses emerging in it, and almost test bedding or beta testing. It's almost like an incubator for food.
Well, it's becoming an incubator for us. It is a good incubator for small business. The market is the market, and it has its ways, but there will be success coming from it. Like Pure Foods is a fabulous example, and the fish shop. The fish shop's now opened his own standalone premises in Enfield, and that's within a two-year period. We've just opened a second premises across in the market as well.
Across the piazza.
If you had told me 2 years ago that we'd be expanding within the market as opposed to moving out of it, I probably would have had to ask you to have your head checked.
And why did you stay?
Well, for all the reasons I outlined. It gives us, we can cook whatever we want. We're not in any debt. We never brought any debt to the business. Everything you see and everything we have, Swazik and I bought ourselves.
That's quite unique. That's very impressive.
Yeah, and we didn't want to bring a great deal of debt to it, and we didn't bring any debt to it actually. We bought everything ourselves, and I mean everything you see here, while it's only tables and chairs and glasses and bottles, everything has a story. Everything was sourced and found, be it on Dundeel or second hand, and we went and picked it up. So everything there is for all these inanimate objects that are tables and chairs and cutlery and glasses are all part of us, and we've all. So Zeke and I have literally picked the vast majority of what you see up ourselves in our car, and we really did want to do it all on our own steam. Now for the next project, whatever the next project is, it'll be slightly different, but we have what we set out to do here. We've developed a reputation. That's really what we set out to do. Our real goals were develop a reputation and get paid. The goals weren't to be massively profitable, or we keep the numbers down because it develops reputation, it builds reputation, and ultimately, particularly in the food business, without your reputation you're nothing, you have nothing. So in the 2 years, it's open 2 years in July, it's achieved the goals it set out to. Now it's paid us, hasn't paid, will never make us rich. But you'll find that a lot of people in our business, if you were to ask them the priorities, money is probably about the fourth to the fifth down. Yeah, money, you need money to keep going. There's no I'm under no illusion, there's no romantic ideas that we can do things for free. We don't, we get paid. But it wasn't the primary motivation. The primary motivation was to develop a reputation, and the next time we approach an estate agent or a bank, they listen.
Well, that's fantastic. from what I hear, you certainly achieved that.
Thank you very much.